Hello, welcome to ELA Apps in the Classroom. I am Jean Potter, and this is another in the series of teaching and learning webinars presented by the Oklahoma Public School Resource Center. Thank you for joining us. As usual, this webinar will be recorded and will be available on my YouTube channel and on the OPSRC members only page on our website. I'm going to switch now to screen share and turn off my camera and go to the webinar information. Before we start, a quick review of how to find our information, this information on the OPSRC website. The address is opsrc.net. Go to that page and simply click the login. And then either log in with your account now if you already have an account, or create your account now. Just remember, if you create your account now, to be sure to use your email address from school so that we'll can identify you as one of our members. I'm going to log into my account. This will take me to this page. And remember that if you forget your password, we can help you reset that. Take you to this page and go on to the teaching and learning page. So click on view the teaching and learning page. This will take you to all of the different resources that we have made available for you. We're going to be putting the webinars in this technology integration online professional development area. So click on view our online professional development. This will take you to the webinars, and the webinars will be listed by date and should be available within a couple days after we do the live stream. We also have the Web and Go's. I'll talk a little bit more about those later, but those are shorter videos that are screencasts and usually on specific tools. So and they will be organized by topics, so don't forget about those also. Okay, let's go on to ELA Apps in the Classroom. Change things up just a little bit. I have I'm using at least today an online application called Padlet. The address for it is padlet.com. And if you want to go and follow along, you can go to padlet.com/Jean_Potter/ELA Apps. And I think this will be a great way for you to be able to access any of the links that I talk about, so that you can see those. I will also be posting these as we go through, or annotating as I edit the video. But this is a great place to have all of them in one place. Padlet's a great way and an easy way to share information, to brainstorm ideas, and to keep track of links. In addition, results can easily be rearranged and sorted to help organize thoughts. I kind of think of it as a set of sticky notes or note cards that you're rearranging on a table or on a board. It does require setting up a free account if you want to edit your Padlet after 24 hours or so. Once you're logged in and you log in, now let me go back to padlet.com for just a moment. So let me go to just padlet.com. So once you log in, you can either click create new Padlet here, or I could log out over here. I have this one already set up, so I'm going to go down and click on it, and notice that the last time I was in it was 2 hours ago, but I have some others that are 11 months old. So these are great ways to save material and to be able to share it. Okay, here we're back to the Padlet again. Let me go back one more time. We are taking time. Okay, so if I want to make a Padlet, I would click here. And as I'm doing this, it will give you some silly title and a description, but you can change both of those. Be sure you change the description so it makes sense. You can choose how it's arranged. This one I have is a free form, but I may change it to the grid. It might make it a little easier. I can change the background or the wallpaper. And I can also change the little logo that kind of gives you an idea of what it's about. There aren't too many in the free version, but there's enough to kind of give you a cute little thing up at the top. I can choose to show the author name in posts, and I can also put tags on it, so if I do make it public, others can find it. And I can even go all the way down here at the bottom and change the URL name for it so that it's easier to remember. So notice if I go back to mine, it'll take just a second. I changed my URL instead of the miscellaneous numbers and letters it came up with. I changed it to ELA Apps. That makes it a little easier for me to remember what it's about and for me to tell people where to find it. Once your Padlet's ready, then you can set the share topic or share settings. You can share privately, which means that you select who contributes to it. You can password protect it so that you can send the password to only certain people, and then you can work with it that way. You can set it as secret, which means that anyone with the link or a QR code can access it, or you can put it public out there for all the world. And then you can set the access level to people to can read, can write, or can moderate. So all of those are available in this share function right here. So there's the different ones, and here are your different access. You can add contributors. For this one, I set it to can write so that you can share links or ideas, and I also set it to secret, and that you now have the URL so that you can get into it. So again, I set it to secret so anyone with the URL address can get in. And then I set it to can write because I would love it if you would add some of your favorite apps to the website. Now, let's take a quick look. So let's go back to the home page and take a quick look at some of the ways that people have used it. It's not going to let me. Okay, let's go to the help. There we go. So here's some more information about Padlet, how much it costs, how to set it up. As I said, it is free. And let's go to the gallery. So let's look at some of the things. This was in the help menu. I can use the Padlet to create a timeline. And as she points out, you just create a post and drag it to the edge of the page. So if I move this up a little bit so I can grab it, this is a timeline someone created for the Odyssey. They added different pads or different notes to it with pictures. So that's one way to use it. I can use it as a book review. And again, this one is book reviews created probably by different students. And it gives a date on it, and they had some things that they were supposed to do to make sure that it answered all of the questions. I can share resources, which is what I'm doing today. The travel bucket list is not available. I can do even a senior exit portfolio. So this is a pretty cool way for your students to put together a lot of information about themselves. And as you can see, this student has got letters of recommendation, a resume, certificates that they've won, geography projects and links to that. So a great way to share resources or share information. That's Padlet.com. Let me go back to mine. Let me go to my dashboard. Okay, here we are again at my dashboard. And as you can see on this one, I put in links. I could have also, if I hover over these and say edit, that would be the way I would edit. I add new down here. I edit existing ones. And I can add various attachments to it, like a sound bite, a video, a resource, links. I chose in my case to mostly do links because it's a little cleaner to look at, but I could also actually add a link to the page, and then I would get a picture of it also, a picture of the home page or something that would let you know what it looks like. Okay, let's talk a little bit now about some special apps that work well with reading or with ELA. Let's look at reading first. And as you notice, I have organized mine into 3 different topics today. So we're going to be looking at reading, at creative writing, and at nuts and bolts, or what I call nuts and bolts. Let's talk first about Lexile level. One important tool for a teacher, especially one who is teaching reading specifically, is to understand the difficulty level of a text. And it may be that this is even more important for teachers who do not teach reading and are not used to choosing text and information. So this might be good for any of the teachers that are having trouble, that have struggling readers or having trouble finding books for them to read. Lexile is only one measure, but a very popular one for the difficulty of reading a piece of text. The level is based on the number of times a word is repeated in a piece of text and the length of the sentences. To give you an idea of how Lexile levels correspond to other measures or grade level, here are some links to some comparison charts. So this one is from Scholastic. This one is from Lexile itself. And then this one, which I really like, and I'm going to pull up, I hope. Nope. Let me get back out of that and actually get this right. There we go. And I like this one because it not only has grade level, but it also has a variety of different things. So my Lexile level starts at 200, which is somewhere around grade 1, and it goes on up to grade 8 in this case. But it also talks about some of the other terms that you might, or measurements that you might be more familiar with. So I think these may be very good resources for you. Those are all 3 under the Lexile level. Another thing that the Lexile site does is it will actually tell you, if I click on this one, it will actually allow you or a student to, if they know their Lexile level or their Lexile range, you can put that information in and submit, and it will find some books that are on that Lexile level. Or if they put their current grade in, but they don't know their Lexile measure, they might say, well, I'm a 4th grader, and I think books are too easy to read, so I would click this one. Or I'm a 4th grader, and I really have trouble reading. They would click this, and that would adjust the Lexile level. Another way to look is to look for a specific book. In this case, let's talk about, well, I did Black Stallion last night, so let's do it again. Say search. Here's the Black Stallion, a book I read when I was a kid, over and over, by the way. And it has a Lexile level of about 680. But notice that a couple of the other in the same series, there's one that goes up to 840 and 850 and on up to 900, 930. So just because one book picks a certain Lexile level doesn't mean all the books in that series will. And as a teacher, you can even put in, if I go back one, I can go to Lexile Analyzer, and I can add a piece of text. I need to sign in, so I'm not going to do that right now, but I could sign in as a teacher. You can sign in, type in a piece of text, and get a Lexile measure of where it should be. So it will give you an idea of what a text is that may not be on their list. As a teacher, you just need to remember that various other factors may also contribute to the readability of a text. Sometimes archaic language, nonlinear sequencing, or figurative language can make a text seem much, much more difficult than the Lexile actually shows. But this is a great starting point. And for example, one of the examples that we were told is that The Outsiders and Lord of the Flies both have very similar Lexile levels. But as you well know, those are very different level reading books when you really begin to work with them. So use the Lexile level, get familiar with it, but also realize that it's not the only way to look at literature. And then what happens if you've got struggling readers and you'd like to read a news story or a piece of nonfiction for a class project, and you just don't think they're going to be able to handle the reading level? Well, there's this wonderful site called newsela.com, and let's go to it. It's Newsela. And if I come up with this and click on one of these stories, I can click on, oh, let's look at Pokemon Go, because that's a popular item. Right now, the Lexile level for this particular story is at 1160L, which is fairly high Lexile level. But if I click and change it, it will change it down to a 580 Lexile level. So much easier to read, but it still allows everybody in the class to read at their level, but to get the same information. There are also writing prompts that often go with them, and you can also, as a teacher, set up to do a quiz that follows the information that they're reading for. And there's a Spanish version. I have not tried the Spanish before. Let's try that. Translated it into Spanish. So for ELL students, this might be a wonderful way. They can read in Spanish and the rest of the students can read in English, and then you can compare what they got out of it and how much they learned about it. There are, even if I go to the library, various stories on various topics, and as well as primary sources like the assassination of Julius Caesar, or famous speeches, biographies of famous people. There's a time machine talking about some articles about different things. Let's see, this was time machine for children working in the Pennsylvania mines. And then again, it starts out at a 990, but I can change it to a Lexile level that's more appropriate. So lots of great things at the Newsela site. Be sure you check it out for your struggling readers, or for readers who need a little bit more of a challenge. Reading's only one side of the ELA objectives, though. Being able to read material links directly with the ability to write effectively. Let's check out some links or venues for creative writing. One of my favorites, let me close a few of my tabs, is Storybird.com. If you're not familiar with this, it is a wonderful site with some incredible artwork on it. I'm going to go to create rather than looking at some of the things I've done. And we're going to just look at some of the artwork. It is, again, a free sign up. And if you're a teacher and sign up as a teacher, you can even create your own class account where students can access those artwork and do their creative writing there. Let's just take a look at some of it. This is just a brief sample. If I wanted to look at, let's search for cats. And as you can see, there's a wide variety of artwork of all different kinds that would be great for inspiring students in some creative writing. It's pretty easy to do. What you do is you create a story as you find a picture or a series of pictures. Then you choose whether you want to do a picture book or a long form book or a poem. So I'm going to choose this very odd cat here who seems to be thinking a lot. So I'm going to say use this art. And then I decide, do I want a long form or a multi-chapter book, a picture book, or do I want to make a poem, which is a single image? And then I just begin typing. So let's begin. Well, let me go back to one. And these are picture books that my daughter and I created this one, a friend of mine, and I created this one. So you create a cover page, and then you can create, just continue to go through the book. And so that's Storybird. Once you've finished the book and saved it, they're saved to your account. They can be kept private. You can share them digitally with family or friends, or share them publicly with the entire world. And if you look at the read up here, here are some of the ones that have been shared. Again, I would make sure that you're kind of watching what your students are reading, because these are all different books done by different people, different people all over the world. So here are some picture books that have been created. Note that I could choose preschool, so I could choose ages. There's even all the way goes up to adult. There are some challenges. Each month I get a newsletter saying a new challenge, and they do challenge you to write a book on a specific topic or from a specific picture. And then if the student is really excited about them, or you're really excited about it, they can publish the book as a hardcover or a soft cover book, or you can down for, I think they're about $15, $20, maybe $30 for the hardcover. But you can also download high resolution PDFs and create a miniature book of the book that you have written. So that's storybird.com. Lots of creative writing possibilities there. Okay, how about a creative writing activity that could be integrated with social studies, math, or science, as well as ELA? And the students could practice a skill that will be useful in a job search later on. Check out this blog by Oscar Simerman. He writes a blog called Focus to Achieve, and this is what this one is, Could This Be the Future? And he created this rather unique resume. And it may not look like the traditional resume format, but it contains all of the information that is usually contained in a resume and probably a little bit more. And it's arranged in a unique and attention-getting manner. I can imagine using a resume like this for a favorite author, for a book character, a historical figure, a scientist, or a mathematician. Can't you just see a resume for Atticus Finch, for Shakespeare, Andrew Jackson, Gregor Mendel, or Descartes? And all the time the students are demonstrating their knowledge of a person's life and contributions, they are also practicing a wide variety of rather challenging formatting skills. And look, he even added a QR code. So lots of computer skills here also, and besides creative writing and demonstrating what you know. Oscar, by the way, has that entire blog. I would suggest you might want to read some of his other blogs because he's got some pretty nice posts. Okay. Recently, I've had the opportunity to attend the OTA Encyclomedia Conference and the APSRC Fall Conference. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but one of my major takeaways was the importance of giving students the freedom to share their ideas with authentic audiences, not just with you as a teacher, but with other students, with their parents, and even further out. A great way to do this is a class blog. I know this can be scary if the blog reaches outside the classroom walls, but as the teacher, you have the ability to control the distance the blog posts reach, and you also have the responsibility to allow your students to learn how to safely use social media. And what better way to do that than in your classroom, where you can help them control and they can ask questions. There are 3 possible blog sites that I've found that I would suggest you at least check out, although there are many others. One is Seesaw, one is education.weebly.com, and one is Blogger. The Seesaw blog is a new addition to Seesaw, which is a digital portfolio for students. It asked me to sign in. Oh, I've already signed in. Okay. So, it's a great first step for blogging, because if you've already used Seesaw with your students, they already know how to post to the class folder. So this is just a simple way to go a little further. So they would just, instead of posting to the folder, they would post to this symbol here, which is the blog. I don't have any on this blog, but this is where they would be. And note that if I go over here, I can manage my class, and this is where I would set up where the blog is available. I enable it, who can post to it, what the settings are, what it looks like, and I can keep track of it. I can even connect to other blogs. So that's Seesaw, and a very good first step if you've already used Seesaw. Another one is Weebly. So it's education.weebly.com. They also have a non-education version. Let's go back over here. Weebly.education.com. In this one, you can set up a class of up to 40 student accounts. They can post to the group or to individual blogs, and there are a variety of themes and designs. And again, in this one, you can set so it can only go to your class, or you can expand it to people that that the student gives the password to or gives the link to. You still have some control over who's looking at it. Or as they become more mature and more able to handle the responsibility, they could post to the world. Blogger is part of the G Suite, which is now the name for Google Apps. And so if you're already a Google Apps for Education school, this would mean one less password for your students to worry about. And it easily integrates with all of the other Google apps. So Blogger would be another one to check out. To get to Blogger, let me go to here, find my home site, and I would go to Blogger. I click on the Google Apps icon over here, go to More, and in my case, it's not up anywhere else, so I would go to Even More from Google, scroll down to Blogger, which is down toward the bottom of the page, and there's Blogger, so I could set up a blog there. Again, if you're a Google Apps for Education school, you can set it up as a class blog and have more control over what the students are doing and how far they are posting out. None of these requires much technical skill to set up, and all, as I said, all allow a variety of share options. As with any app, check them out to see which one works best for you and which one will meet the requirements and concerns of your IT network. Finally, sometimes you just want to work on some vocabulary or some grammar. Freerice.com is another of my favorite sites, especially for those times when you or your students have a few minutes of spare time. It's a great way to expand your vocabulary and help someone at the same time. So let me go to the site. This is freerice.com. If I choose the correct meaning to the word dirty, which I think will be filthy, I get it correct, but I also am donating 10 grains of rice to the World Food Program. I will say that some of these definitions are a little, not always the ones you would find in a dictionary with lots of details. They're more like synonyms or close synonyms, but they definitely get the point across. If you'll notice down here, the levels go from 1 to 60, so it starts very low, but if you continue on, it will and continue to get things correct, the levels increase in difficulty. The higher ones, I will assure you, will test some of your students and maybe even your vocabulary skills. My daughter and I regularly brag about who has reached the higher level. And this is a great way to increase your vocabulary. It can also be a time sink, so be sure that you have a little time. It can be addictive, but it's lots of fun. If you're bored with English vocabulary, you can go to the other subjects. Here are some of them. For instance, I could go to English grammar, chemical symbols, German language, Latin, human anatomy, world landmarks or capitals or countries on the map, humanities, famous paintings. The vocabulary is probably the most robust one, but there are there's great information on some of the others also. And again, if you've got 5 minutes or so, this would be a great way for your students to just work on some vocabulary skills. Looking for something, looking for something more grammar specific, check out Grammar Up, which is an app on both the iOS and Android platforms. There's a free version as well as a paid version. The free version on my iOS has 10 different categories, and there's about 10 questions in each category, and they seem to rotate different questions each time you start it. And the categories might be things like causative verbs, word families, noun word choice, adverb word choice, lots of different, 10 different categories. The $4.99 paid version has another 10 categories in addition, and there are no ads. So that's Grammar Up. It's on either on the App Store or the Google Play. So check that one out if you're interested in working on grammar. Or check out Richard Burns' blog post that I have linked here. Richard has, as usual, has put in, he's got 10 different grammar games and lesson resources on this one. Mr. Byrne, if you've not checked out his website or his blog site, Free Technology for Teachers, that's a great place to go to look for technology applications. I will give you one disclaimer on this. I didn't open them all. I did try Grammar Ninja, and I'm not quite sure that I agree with some of their decisions on what kind of word part of speech it is, but that would be a great way to start some discussion when your students come up with one and say, oh, you told me it's this. Then we could discuss which way it works, and also point out that the internet is not the all-knowing, all-wise entity that some students think it is. Bottom line, you should always test links and resources to make sure that they fit your expectations and that you're aware of possible conflicts or problems that arise. But this is a great place to look for some grammar activities. And again, as I said, Mr. Burns' blog is a great place to look for any kind of technology application questions that you have. Once again, these are only a few of the resources that are available. If you know of others and would like to add them to the Padlet, please do so. I will be monitoring the Padlet and the link will remain active. As I mentioned earlier, I have attended a couple conferences lately where folks were sharing the best idea ever. And I saw ideas that were super, but it also made me realize just how easy it is to become overwhelmed with new ideas. Please remember, as you consider implementing any new technology or any new activity, to choose an idea, become comfortable with it on your own first, and then use it in class. Nothing is more frustrating, in my opinion, than to have some big plan and it's going to be beautiful, and then when you get into class it doesn't work and everything just goes up in a puff of smoke. And there are a few things more intimidating than feeling like I should make a lot of changes all at once. Don't get caught in the idea that, oh, that's a great idea and that's a great idea and I'm going to put 3 or 4 of them to work at one time. Implement one idea, get comfortable with it, tweak it till it works the way you want, and then move on to another one. Small steps are always good. Thanks again for stopping by. This webinar should be up on the OPSRC site by Monday, October the 24th, if all goes as planned. I know, famous last words, but I'll try. Please stop by again on the third Thursday of each month for live streaming or on our website for more webinars. And watch the website for additional Web and Go screencasts on specific apps, including some of the ones we talked about today. Comments are always welcome, so let me know what you think. This is Jean Potter from the OPSRC Teaching and Learning Team. You can email me at jean.potter@opsrc.net. And let me go back to my regular screen. Again, this is jean.potter@opsrc.net. If you would like to email me, I'd love to hear from you. Enjoy exploring and see you soon. Goodbye. Oh, I did.